Welcome back, folks and friends. Connecting Dots here. Today's date is December 13th, 2014. We are Fukushima Day 1373. And although I don't make a story on, or I should say, I don't make a video on every single story that comes out relating to Fukushima, I do post ongoing stories here at connectingdots1.com. And I want to share with you a couple of stories here. And this has just gone absolutely berserk. I can't believe it, folks. This doesn't make any sense. This is crazy. Okay, so basically I reported here how a U.S. company in Richland had won a second award here to build a second system to deal with all this highly radioactive contaminated water at Fukushima. So it goes on to say here that the first system had been sent to Japan in July, and since October it had processed more than 12,000 tons of contaminated water. Wow. And it had removed 99.95% of the strontium in the water. Wow. Unbelievable. And if you've been following me, it's one of the things I've been talking about is that strontium-90 is our biggest threat towards on human life, on life form here on. As far as Fukushima, there's no doubt about it. Strontium-90 is our biggest concern. The German mock study of a type of nuclear plant meltdown, the Mark I nuclear plant, when they melted down, that type of reactor puts out strontium-90. It said that around the 1,000-day mark, strontium would show up. If you've been following my video, I reported how TEPCO had found that strontium-90 had started rising, increasing levels around the 1046th day. So Fukushima Day 1046 is I think where I picked it up, and it's been increasing since then. So we have a company here that can deal with it. They've dealt with here in a short amount of time 12,000 tons. A second system now has been sent out there, and they're very open about it here. They say here there's more than 400 tanks that are stored at this on site with over 400,000 tons of water, and each day there's an additional 400 tons of contaminated water that's being added as the groundwater has continued to flood through the cracked basement here of the turbine buildings, and some additional water is being used for cooling the fuel. So it's an ongoing process here. Lots of water. I think I've shared, you've seen the videos here, I've talked about this, they're concerned here. So there's, on top of the 1,000 tons of groundwater that leaks by the plant here down from the mountains, they got to pump water in the reactors themselves, and yes, so the basements are filling up with highly radioactive water. Roughly about a month ago, they were talking about how the levels in the basement water, the radioactivity was up 40,000%. So yeah, they have highly radioactive water here. Now, more recently here, December 13, South Korea is sending a team of experts to Japan this week for a field investigation related to South Korea's import ban. So South Korea was smart enough here; they actually banned food products, fishery products, from the Fukushima and 7 other prefectures in Japan. So these experts here, they're going to conduct a survey for 5 days, and they're going to visit the Tokyo Electric Power disaster hit Fukushima #1 nuclear power plant and wholesale markets for fishery products in the Pacific Coast prefectures of Fukushima and Chiba to collect data for a possible review. Well, I don't know if there should be a review, because if anyone's been following my Fukushima stories, roughly in the last year and a half, I've posted stories relating to the results here of fish that was tested off the coast of Japan, and each time I reported the story, the fish were becoming more and more radioactive. The very last story I posted was how the fish, I believe, was something like 4,800 times above the legal limit, the Japan's legal limit. And in fact, if you remember, in 2011 with the meltdown, Japan actually rose its acceptable limits in the food, the radioactivity in its food. So even with the increased acceptable levels, the fish caught off their own coast was still roughly about 5,000 times above the legal limit here. So we have stories of increasing levels of fish off their coast, and South Korea is the only country that's been intelligent enough to ban the fish caught off these prefectures, Fukushima and the 7 others, but now they're going back to review it. And here's the interesting part here that it goes on to say, because this was all announced at a press conference on Friday. The Japanese Deputy Chief Cabinet Secretary, Hiroshige Seko, said that Japan strongly hopes that South Korea will deepen its accurate understanding through the survey and that the ban will quickly be abolished. Accurate understanding. Well, folks, I'll tell you what, here's the accurate information. I can't believe this is going down, and I really hope South Korea sees this. The head of the Japanese nuclear watchdog has said that the contaminated water stored at the crippled Fukushima #1 nuclear power plant should be released into the ocean to ensure safe decommissioning of the reactors. What's he talking about? It's not that they're posing a threat, you know. Anyways, he tells you the truth later on. And by the way, these comments were just said here on December 12th after he visited the facility, and he was overwhelmed by the sheer number of tanks. That's what the problem is here, okay? He goes on to say here that the tanks are posing a danger. He says, we have to dispose of the water. Can you believe it? And he says, with regards to expected protests by local fishermen over the discharge, Tanaka said, we also have to obtain the consent of local residents in carrying out the work so we can somehow mitigate, in parentheses, the increase in tainted water. Yeah, so they want to mitigate, all right, the amount of water. They want to just dump it into the environment. And, you know, why? When the first water treatment system seems to be working quite well, and another system is about to be started up here in the new year, in January 2015, I think, is when the second system will be kicked in, because it takes a couple of months after it's arrived. But regardless, the fact is we have something to deal with the contaminated water. Why would the watchdog, of all things, he's the nuclear watchdog, why would he want to dump the radioactive water in the ocean? I can't believe it, you know. And here's the odd thing. He says that he had previously said here that to proceed with decommissioning, the tainted water stored on site would need to be released into the ocean so as long as it had been decontaminated to acceptable safety levels, safety standards. So why is it that, you know, a little while back he was concerned about decontaminating water, and now all of a sudden he's willing to just dump it? I can't believe it, you know. And he goes on to say here that while the idea may upset people, we must do our utmost to satisfy residents of Fukushima. Why? By contaminating the Pacific Ocean with strontium-90? Anyways, I can't believe this is going down, folks. I'm not sure if you're aware. Just you know, here's a picture here back in May 2011. This is how much green grass was around Fukushima. And as you can see here, by September 2011, it was even less. By January 2011, even less so. And here we are in 2013. So let's just compare here these two pictures, 2013 to 2011. Yeah, they have a problem here. There's a lot of tainted water accumulating on sites, and they're having to come up with all types of different tanks here, because you may have heard the past stories how some of the tanks were leaking. We all know that. The tanks were leaking, and that was part of the problem, that the radiation's getting right past and going right by the frozen wall. So the wall has failed, by the way, okay? This ice wall, it's just not working. So I can't believe that these people are willing to just take all this water and dump it in the ocean. Really? Honestly? The watchdog? He's not a watchdog, folks. He's been paid off. Mitigate rhymes with money, does it not? Anyways, seems to me there's corruption at hand, and I'll leave you a link here for connectingdots1.com if you want to stay updated. And if you haven't seen this, I'll remind you, I uploaded this video yesterday, and by the way, Jeff Palco is reading the comments. He just sent me an email roughly about 45 minutes ago. He says he was impressed. He likes it. So if you want to leave something for Jeff Palco, he's reading the comments here in that video. It's listed up on the link on the screen right now, and it's also listed down below in the Show More tab. End the Fukushima fraud. Sell the Palco painting to the museum. Let's get it done, folks. And you know, according to Kevin D. Blanche, it was a large sum of money he's been offered. hopefully there'll be enough money to pay everyone back, and maybe we could split the money and buy 2 gamma spectrometers, one for me so I could check the radiation here on the west coast. As I mentioned, I live right on the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and maybe we could give some money to Dana so he can get back home, because he's broke. Anyways, go watch the video. Find out he's down and out, broke, and stuck in up in Prince Rupert. Very sad. And maybe if there's enough money, we can actually buy him a gamma spectrometer. He could do it in Powell River. Yeah, who's going to trust him? I'll have to do it all on video, I guess. Anyways, take care, folks, and I hope you enjoyed the info.